when the docking clamps locked with a shudder that rippled through the hull. Elias Ward knew two things for certain. First, the vigilant Horizon was older than any ship he had trained. She groaned like a tired animal, her metal bones protesting the vacuum. Second, whatever fate had planned for him on this assignment, it was going to be strange. He just hadn't expected this kind of strange. Elias was a third-year Terran engineering student, sent on a cooperative work program to log real hours aboard an interspecies vessel. The Horizon was a long-haul survey ship, staffed by a skeleton crew that rotated in and out as contracts changed. The job listing had been vague: cross-cultural experience, hands-on maintenance, hazard pay included. That should have been a warning. He slung his duffel over his shoulder and followed the blinking corridor lights, 2 ward crew quarters, rehearsing polite greetings in 3 languages and 1 set of gestures he still didn't fully understand. The door to his assigned living module slid open, and Elias stopped. 4 tall figures stood inside the shared habitation. Space. They were unmistakably elegant tails curling behind them, horns sweeping back from scaled foreheads, wings folded tight against their backs like cloaks. Their scales ranged in color from deep ember red to pale moonstone blue, catching the soft cabin light with an iridescent sheen. All 4 of them were staring at him, not with hostility, with stunned, absolute silence. One of them dropped the datapad she was holding. It clattered to the floor, forgotten. "It's small," whispered the blue-scaled one. Elias swallowed. Hi." The tallest dragon woman stepped forward slowly, eyes wide, pupils narrow slits. She tilted her head, studying him as if he were a rare specimen that had wandered out of a museum display. "You are male?" she asked carefully. "Yes," Elias said. "Human male." Elias Ward, engineering student. The 4 of them exchanged glances so rapid and sharp they might as well have been spoken words. Finally, the red-scaled dragon woman cleared her throat. "I am Captain Sarith of the Kithari Clutch. These are my sisters, Linray Voska and Tyrell." Elias blinked. "Captain, you're all roommates." Sarith nodded. "This vessel was commissioned to a matriarchal species. We share quarters by tradition." She paused, then added, "We were not informed a male would be assigned." Elias winced. "Yeah, that's been happening a lot lately." "What?" Elias didn't know what no one had thought important enough to include in the transfer documents was that the Kithari dragons had not seen a male of any species in nearly 3 generations. Their culture, shaped by ancient evolutionary pressures, had become entirely female-dominant. Males were rare, fragile, and historically over time, they had vanished from public life entirely, preserved only in genetic archives and myth to the Kithari. Males were stories, symbols, curiosities, and now one was standing in their living quarters, clutching a duffel bag and trying not to faint. The first week was tense. Elias learned quickly that dragon women had excellent hearing, heat sensitivity, and a terrifyingly accurate sense of smell. They learned that humans needed sleep, ate alarming quantities of carbohydrates, and were disturbingly comfortable with silence. They also learned that Elias was not weak, not in the way they had been taught to expect. On the second day, a coolant relay blew out on Deck 7, venting superheated vapor through a maintenance shaft. The automated systems locked the section down, but a power conduit began to overload if it went critical. The Horizon would lose navigation for weeks. Captain Sabith ordered an evacuation of the deck. Elias didn't. He sealed his suit, grabbed a portable regulator, and crawled into the shaft before anyone could stop him. When he emerged 47 minutes later, suit scorched, hands shaking, but the relay stabilized and the conduit rerouted. The corridor was filled with dragon women staring at him in stunned silence. "You disobeyed a captain's order," Voska said slowly. "Yes, ma'am," Elias replied. "But the ship would have been dead in space." Sereth studied him for a long moment. Then she bowed her head just slightly. "You chose duty over fear," she said. "That is not what our histories say males do." Elias shrugged. "History gets a lot wrong." From that moment on, things changed. They watched him. They asked questions. Why did humans send their young into danger? Why did Elias fix things himself instead of commanding others? Why did he laugh when stressed? Why did he apologize to the ship's AI when rerouting power as if it had feelings? Elias answered honestly because someone had to go first, because leadership meant responsibility, because humor kept fear from winning, because, well, it felt right, slowly. The horizon became more than a workplace. It became a home. Tyrell learned to cook human meals badly at first. Then with pride, Linray listened as Elias spoke of Earth's skies, oceans, and cities full of strangers who still helped one another. Voska sparred with him in the training bay, astonished that a fragile male could adapt, learn, and even land a hit on a dragon warrior twice his mass and Sereth. Sereth watched him when she thought he wasn't looking. One night, during a long drift between systems, the ship's lights dimmed to simulate night cycle. Elias sat alone in the observation blister, staring at the stars. Sereth joined him quietly. "Our records say males avoided open space," she said. "That it frightened them." Elias smiled faintly. "It does. That's why I look, anyway." She considered this. "You terrify and confuse my crew." "Sorry, no," she said. "It is refreshing." She folded her wings tighter, a gesture of trust among her kind. The Cathari believed strength meant dominance, control, separation. Her gaze drifted to the stars. "You have shown us another kind." When the horizon returned to port months later, rumors spread fast. A human male who repaired ancient ships with his bare hands. A student who earned a dragon captain's bow. A species thought weak proving, otherwise not through conquest, but competence. When Elias disembarked, his roommates stood at the docking bay. Sereth placed a clawed hand over her heart. "The horizon will remember you, Elias Ward." "So will we," Linray added softly. Elias smiled, chest tight. "Any time you need an engineer." As he walked away, he didn't see the data packet Sereth transmitted to Cathari High Command. It was titled simply, "Regarding Human Males. A Reassessment." And across the stars, an ancient culture began to change, not because humanity demanded it, but because one human showed them what strength truly looked like. Asterisk.